This week's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Well, good afternoon everybody, or good morning depending on where you live. Now I have to apologize, I'm not sure if this is the start of a vlog or the end of one. I've taken so much footage I've kind of lost track of where I am. I'm still in the UK. We haven't started our workshops in Glencoe yet. We still have a couple of days before that happens. So I'm just checking out some locations in the northern section of England. And today Paul and I have come out to an area that I've seen a lot of photographs of, and that's the castles on the northeastern coast of the country. The castle in front of me, I know a lot of you will recognize. Right now the tide is up really high. The convergence of the waves coming in is forming some really cool patterns. So I've decided to, rather than just take photographs of the castle, try and get some photographs of just those converging waves, just using various shutter speeds, using case ND filters to kind of slow the shutter speed down. The waves are quite large right now, so it's looking really quite spectacular. This is the first photograph of the afternoon, and hopefully I'll have some more to show you as the evening progresses. The one thing about popular areas like this, I've seen lots of photographs of this castle, it's that most of the images that I've seen anyway tend to be from the coastline. There's lots of round boulders, and it's a cool shot, but I'd like to try and get something a little bit different. So I've come up a little bit closer to the main tower that I can see from this side anyway, and found these boulders with this white, I guess it's lichen growing on them. So what I've decided to do is just find a couple of dominant boulders and slap those right in the foreground. So we have a strong foreground and then the tower looming in the background. And right now the light is actually really good, so I think the shots should work out really well. It's actually quite simple to do. You know, basically you're just trying to dominate the foreground with a subject, in this case the boulders, and then have those lead up to the main subject. In this case it's the tower. Yeah, I think it's an okay shot, and I might try some with a 10-stop ND filter as well. The clouds are moving quite fast, so it might be kind of cool to see if we can get effect with the clouds streaking behind, so I'll give that a go as well. So as you can see here, the foreground's not bad, but we're missing stuff in the middle ground here. We have a foreground, kind of leads over this way, not much middle ground, and then we have an interesting, so there's almost two images. So to kind of connect those two, what I'd like to do is get down much lower, and now you can see now we don't have as much of a gap there with nothing relating to the background. There's a nice little shadow in there. See how it widens, and it separates the two halves. Get down low, and that creates that connection. It's my eye anyway. And then, you know, because we're using a wide angle, don't be afraid to getting close to the foreground here if you really want to emphasize that. If you don't want to emphasize it, then just back up. Sorry, this is a bit awkward. With a longer lens, and get down like that. So now the tower is bigger and the foreground is less dominant. I wish I'd found this composition earlier. I love the boulders in this one. They're just, the arrangement is just nicer than the other compositions. But of course now we've lost the light. There's some nice light in the clouds, but we've lost that directional light. Would have been nice, just a bit more light on these boulders. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where to go, and I find that if I go to too many compositions, then don't get anything. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with what I got, but this is definitely my favorite. Thanks once again to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Are you ready to take your online presence to the next level? Meet Design Intelligence by Squarespace, a fusion of world-class design and AI technology that unlocks your creative potential like never before. Build a stunning, personalized website that is as unique as you are and stands out from the crowd. With Squarespace Payments, managing transactions is easier than ever. Get started in just a few clicks and let your customers pay their way, whether it's Apple Pay, Afterpay, or more. Need to invoice clients? Squarespace has you covered. Simplify your workflow and focus on growing your business. If you're interested in building an awesome website, why not head on over to squarespace.com. Give the platform a free trial, and if you like what you find, use the code AdamGibbs for 10% off your first purchase. Well, good morning everybody. An extremely rare occasion this morning in Glencoe. It's not pissing with rain. Every time I've been here or through this area, it's been absolutely pouring with rain. So this is a first for me. I'm in Glencoe with my friend Paul Thomson. Paul and I are doing a couple of workshops in the next week or so. And this is our first morning in Glencoe. The workshop starts this evening. So we thought we'd go and scout a couple of areas that we had planned. And this is one of them. Beautiful. It's clear, or relatively clear, to the east. So we're going to get a bit of light in the valley here, which will be really nice. Last night we spent a rather cold night in Paul's van. Definitely went down to well, below zero. There's frost on the ground. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a relatively simple shot. I quite like the mountains over here and over here. I think they balance it out, so it does look like it might be a pano, because where I'm standing here, there isn't an awful lot of interest in the bottom, and there's not really a lot of interest up in the sky here. It's quite blue. All the interest is in the midsection here. So that's why I do quite a few panos, because it kind of forces you to look across the frame rather than up, because there's no height to a pano. You're forced to look to left to right or right to left. that wasn't very nice of the sun. Of course, the clouds have moved in just as the sun's coming up. Story of my life. So we've lost all the sun on the mountains here. I managed to get one shot. The clouds are somewhat broken. I don't know if you guys can see that. Somewhat broken up here. But I don't know if it's broken enough to let some light in on the mountains. You definitely need some light here. Otherwise it just looks a bit dull. Anyway, it's the landscape photographer's nemesis. The light. Trying to get decent light. And I keep saying it, but it is all about the light. Without light, it's pretty hard to get a decent photograph. Unless you may be doing some close-ups or something like that. But when you're doing a grand landscape, you really need the light to give it some depth and really give it that pop that it needs. Otherwise, it just looks flat like this. No matter how spectacular the peaks are. Well, that was a little bit disappointing. Composition was okay, but I think, like I said earlier, the light would have really set it off, and it looked like it had real potential. It was going to happen, and then it was gone. Oh, hang on, car. So, what do you think? Go and have some breakfast?
Yeah, I think so.
Go and mope behind my cup of tea.
Yeah, go down to Glencoe though. It's too blooming expensive in there.
It is a bit pricey. It is a bit pricey at the King's Head, I must admit. Food's good though.
It is, definitely.
But yeah.
Got potential today though. It's looking all right.
You think?
It's not bloody raining, which makes a difference. Change for us.
That's true, and it's quite cold. I mean, if it stays cold like this, it might snow. There is a little bit of dusting of snow on top.
Well, it's forecast for Monday, I think.
Oh, it was freezing this morning though, wasn't it?
It was Baltic.
I was a bit miserable this morning because Paul was cold. He's up in the loft, and I was down below, and he had the heat on, and I was just baking. So
I was bloody freezing.
Yeah, but in my defence, I mean, I told him that I would sleep upstairs but he insisted on sleeping up there. So anyway, true story. All right, just gonna have some breakfast. Well, as you can see, we did actually get some snow. From the last clip was a couple of days ago, and obviously it's cooled down considerably, and we've got a pretty good dump of snow in Glencoe here, although it is starting to warm up. So I was really hoping that we might get some really nice light with the snow, but I just don't know as if that's going to happen. Paul and I have finished our first workshop here in Glencoe, and we have another one coming up in a day or so. But before I leave you, I just wanted to mention that those of you that have been long awaiting my book, Land and Light, by the time you see this video, it will be shipping again. I apologize for yet another delay. Unfortunately, I'm a one-man show, so obviously while I'm away, I can't ship books out. But I assure you that you will be getting your copy very, very soon. If you haven't ordered a copy, I'll leave a link up in the corner here. It would make a great Christmas gift, hint, hint. So just go and check out the details on my website. And lastly, I just wanted to leave you with some images that I took while we were doing the workshops. Obviously, I didn't vlog about them, but I got a couple of really nice shots that I'd like to share with you. So I hope you enjoy them. All right, guys, until next time, bye for now.